Yeah, I think it's consistent with, reminds me something of one of the priests told me when I was in my college, when somebody was doing something really ridiculous and crazy. I was a resident assistant at the time. And when we were trying to figure out why somebody would have done something so dastardly, kind of consistent with this, again, these are the things that are just reminding me of themes in my life. They said, never underestimate, if you can't get positive attention, they will do everything they can to get maximum negative attention. And this fits right into that scenario. It's not she doesn't care about offending and harming and hurting. In fact, she's exerting, it's kind of like rape. It's not about the sex, it's about the control. And she's able to control their emotions and make them outraged and angry, and the public, talk about her. And what we're doing right now, she's accomplishing exactly what she wants.
And finally, Bob, I want to ask you about some of her criticisms of the system. The judge saw fit to jump in a couple of times as well. I want to get your thoughts on that. This idea that it's an unjust system. Too many people plead out, and they plead out because of the conditions they put them in, and that at the end of the day, 98% of the people plead, 0.2% of acquittals, and all those things sort of, rounding out. And the judge a couple of times stepped in and said, hey, one thing she said, I think she said, you're not allowed to tell your story. Judge says that's not true. And they said only 2% end up in acquittal, or 0.2% end up in acquittal. He said that's not true. What did you make of that whole thing?
Well, I'm torn about this because I hate for anybody to think that I'm sympathetic to this individual, but she did say some things thematically that are in fact accurate. With the increase of mandatory sentencing and draconian penalties, the times from when I started trying, virtually every case was a trial, have been limited tremendously because the consequences of trial are, crazy. And with waiting a significant period of time, sometimes 5, 10 years for a trial, she's right about that. People shouldn't be warehoused at a jail waiting for a trial because there's not enough courtrooms and prosecutors that try cases. But politicians don't fund those things, right? Do more with less. So in some ways, thematically, what she's saying about problems in the criminal justice system are true. And she's picking up on that current. And it gets to the judge's point. I think she's trying to build a mighty army inside the jail. They listen to this, and that will resonate with them because there is some truth in what she's saying. But we all know with prevaricators that they give you one little kernel of truth and then blow things up into craziness. But the criminal justice system is in need of massive reform.
Yeah, fair enough. And these are the type of messages that can resonate with some of these folks inside the prison. So her putting together a ministry is a scary thought.
Yeah, because they're going to follow. And I agree, that's some of the reality of our jail system, justice system, and the faults in it that are systemic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Bob.